WatchMojo updated their greatest guitar solo list, and now I have to see what they've done.
Hey everyone, I'm Rebecca, and welcome to WatchMojo. Today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 guitar solos of all time. We'll be looking at the most iconic and influential guitar solo sections from the world of rock. Which is your favorite solo?
Just such a strange way to say it. I don't know a guitar player who would say, I wonder what the greatest guitar solo section of all time is. But despite my snobbery, it's actually a great question thinking about what the greatest guitar solo sections are. You know what's going on in the background to make the solos so awesome? That would be a great video.
Number 20, Alex Lifeson from Rush's Free Will.
Not where I thought they would start. I feel like this list already has credibility doing a deep cut from Rush. Whether or not this belongs in the top 20 greatest guitar solos of all time, I don't even know if this is the best Rush solo of all time, but I like the pick. That's cool. We got the custom Les Paul with the huge Hughes and Kettner rack behind. I forgot he used H&K. That's a really cool sound he's got in these live shows.
Number 19, Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine's Killing in the Name.
Solid. I would probably put this in the top 20. I definitely would put a Tom Morello solo. Great riff in this song. Not the best guitar solo. I mean, it's got the cool Tom Morello. You really have to choose. Do you like the whammy Tom Morello or do you like the weird sounds Tom Morello? I like the weird sounds Tom Morello, like the ring mod stuff and the scratching on the strings, making it sound like a DJ. Super heavy flanger or phaser, like when he builds those effects into his guitar. I like that kind of modulation sound as opposed to like the whammy stuff that he's also really popular for. Audioslave comes to mind more than Rage. This is actually early whammy Tom Morello, who's great.
A drop D riff that channeled the intensity of the lyrics.
Well, that's not like a drop D riff. That guitar solo, you can play that in standard tuning. But that's exactly what I said. This song I more associate with the drop D riff that she's talking about maybe, but the guitar solo I think is not necessarily the best Tom Morello guitar solo. I would choose some Audioslave guitar solos as well as some Rage guitar solos. I'd probably pick Bulls on Parade. That would be my pick for the best representation of Tom Morello's lead guitar playing potential.
Number 18, Jack White from the White Stripes, Icky Thump. It only made sense for...
My first gut reaction is no way. Top 20 greatest guitar solos of all time. I love Jack White. I think he actually could belong on this top 20 guitar solos list, but not for Icky Thump. I don't feel like that guitar solo is like iconic, which I think goes into the term great. It has to be not only a great guitar solo in the musical sense, but also what does it mean to music? And I don't think a lot of guitar players are talking about Icky Thump's guitar solo. Again, another example of, I think of that hairy riff that kicks the song off. The Icky Thump, if you will. It's really cool, Jack White. It's sort of like his Tom Morello coming out, I suppose. But if I were to choose a White Stripes song, it would have to be the solo for Seven Nation Army because it's so anti-solo, but the way it's played and what it means for the song and just the iconic riff that it embellishes on, it's just like the perfect Jack White guitar solo. But maybe you love this Icky Thump solo and you think I'm crazy for not thinking of that solo first. Let me know in the comments. Let's move on.
Number 17, Richie Blackmore from Deep Purple's Highway Star.
Gotta admit, not the biggest fan of Deep Purple overall. Highway Star is one of their most popular songs, of course, but I think the solo to Burn is honestly the best Richie Blackmore guitar playing. But Highway Star, I suppose you could put it in here. I'm put it on the maybes. Deep Purple, obviously an iconic band. This is a great guitar solo, but I'm gonna put it on the maybes for now.
Number 16, Mark Knopfler from Dire Straits' Sultans of Swing.
Just instantly recognizable. That's another parameter of the greatest guitar solos ever, instantly recognizable. Sultans of Swing, I think, totally belongs on this list. I don't even need to listen to more.
Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead's Paranoid Android.
Nice! I don't know if you guys know this, but I am a massive Radiohead fan, so I love seeing Johnny Greenwood crack the top 20 greatest guitar solos according to WatchMojo. Man, I've never really thought about the greatest Radiohead guitar solo because they have so many different albums with you know, some don't even have guitar on them. So I would say probably Paranoid Android is a good pick. It's hard with Greenwood because he's such a melody writer, you know, like a lot of his guitar parts aren't necessarily solos, but they're not rhythmic either. They're like these melodic things. A perfect example is like the very last thing that he plays in Separator on King of Limbs, that that just like kind of meshes with Tom York's melody there at the end. That's like my favorite peak Johnny Greenwood. Paranoid Android is good. I would probably, my favorite Radiohead album is In Rainbows. I might go Body Snatchers. That whole ending thing, that it's really a guitar solo but in Johnny Greenwood's way. The stuff that he does is just so gnarly and awesome. So I would say yeah, Body Snatchers.
Number 14, Eric Clapton from Cream's Crossroads.
One of the first guitar solos that I ever played live. When I was like 15, my Uncle Tim in New Hampshire, I think it was like Derry, New Hampshire, we played this outdoor gig for one of my uncle's friends or something like that. There was a party. We whipped out Crossroads. It was like the most fun ever. So I love this song. I love this guitar solo. I learned it note for note at one point, but it's just such an identifiable, unique sound that although it uses very traditional pentatonic phrasing, the way that Clapton plays it right in the pocket too, just these little slurs and quarter bends and all these techniques that are just so fluid in this guitar solo. It just feels like the perfect blues rock guitar solo, totally deserving to be a top 20 guitar solo of all time.
Number 13, Brian May from Queen's Brighton Rock.
Brighton Rock is what they chose for Queen. Wow. I feel like I'm just going through this list and agreeing that this guitar player should be on it, but I'm disagreeing with the song that they chose, which I think is good. These are all very good choices. So this might be the best guitar-related WatchMojo list so far. See, that's the solo for Brighton Rock, but that doesn't sound like Brian May to me. It does, but it's not like what I think of a Brian May guitar solo. Like, that's really sweet licks right there, but I just think of the like quadruple harmony stuff. I'm talking like Killer Queen, you know, where there's this 3-part, it couldn't even be more than 3 parts of these beautiful melodies that are even just good on their own. It's hard enough to write a guitar solo just one good melody, but this dude comes up with 3 harmonies for that one great melody and still manages to make it work, and he does it all the time. So I really identify with his harmonizing guitar solos more than just like the straight ripping guitar solos, which are also great, and he still has that Brian May finger tone. You really can't go wrong. But yeah, I would go Killer Queen if we're gonna go Queen on this list.
Guitarists are known to have a special relationship to their instruments, but none is more special than that of Brian May and the Red Special.
Oh, is that right? I do love my guitars very much, lady.
Number 11, Slash from Guns N' Roses' November Rain.
That's a good pick. I would say either November Rain or Paradise City. November Rain is just so Slash, so Guitar Hero though. He's standing on the piano, right?
He needs an equally heroic guitar solo.
He's standing on a piano and then for some reason he's out in the desert. Only Slash can pull that off. Well, not that guitar solo. I mean, that's a great guitar solo too. I'm talking about the end when it goes WatchMojo, you almost had it. You were doing so well, and then you chose the slow. It's like choosing the slow part of Sweet Child of Mine, saying that's better than the guitar solo. No, the guitar solo is at the end of November, not this middle interlude. Come on.
Number 10, Randy Rhodes from Ozzy Osbourne's Mr. Crowley.
I remember when I first heard this guitar solo, I was about 13 years old, and I had the Ozzy Osbourne like greatest hits or essentials or whatever. Mr. Crowley was on there along with all the other great Ozzy hits, and I would listen in bed before I went to sleep every night to this guitar solo. I would just keep rewinding the CD. I would just listen over and over again. I could never hope to play it at that age, but I was just like imagining that it was me playing the guitar part. I would do that with a lot of guitar solos back then, but this was the one that I kind of like initiated my love for guitar solos and shred, because it's just so melodic, but it's so fast and appealing to a budding guitar player. It's got just the coolest distorted sound, and Yeah, just an amazing guitar solo. I don't think there's a better Randy Rhoads guitar solo than Mr. Crowley. That argument could be going on forever, but Mr. Crowley is just a masterpiece.
Number 9, David Gilmour from Pink Floyd's Dogs. At 17 minutes in length, this isn't your typical rock song. But then again, Pink Floyd...
they hired somebody new to do these picks. These are like, we got some hipsters in the WatchMojo guitar office today. Like, having a harmony in a Pink Floyd song, that goes against my David Gilmour, this is just one guitar got, you know? Brian May, it's like he's multiple alien people that is making up one Brian May, but choosing a harmonized David Gilmour solo for not only the top 20 greatest guitar solos, but the best David Gilmour guitar solo, disagree. I would go either Solo and Comfortably Numb. I would say Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, even Money, like those are all way more memorable and great to me than Dogs. But Dogs, great song. I mean, damn. I'd listen to that song, I would just leave that song on. That was like the background of one of my summers when I was really getting into classic rock.
Number 8, Brian May from Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody.
Brian May, a repeat on the 20 greatest, that having 2 guitar solos in the top 20 greatest guitar solos list, that is something only Brian May could do. I don't agree. I don't think there's room for 2 from one person. I just fundamentally am at odds with that. But, you know, Bohemian Rhapsody, everybody loves it. I think I've heard it too much at this point.
Number 7, Stevie Ray Vaughan's Texas Flood.
Nah, that's not the best Stevie solo. I mean, Tightrope's better than Texas Flood. Pride and Joy's better than Texas Flood. Tightrope, Pride and Joy, Texas Flood. And maybe you could bump Texas Flood down to 4th for Rude Mood if you want to count that as just one giant guitar solo. I like Texas Flood. I just feel like it's sort of an exaggerated SRV guitar solo. For all the stuff that makes him great. It's like all of those things on level 10 out of 10, like the crazy bends and the just vibrato and insanely hard pick attack. Like, that's cool, but I just like a little bit more nuance to the guitar solos of Stevie if we're talking about the greatest guitar solo. Like Texas Flood, don't get me wrong, freaking amazing blues solo, but I think that Tightrope transcends it, and I think that Pride and Joy also is better. Stevie Ray Vaughan belongs on this list. Let's move on.
Halen from Michael Jackson's Beat It.
Yeah, Beat It? No. Well, you know what? I guess for the time, like what it meant to pop culture, like the biggest guitar player in the world and the biggest pop musician in the world collaborating, I'm trying to think what that would be like right now. I guess it's like some form of John Mayer and Kendrick Lamar, I don't know, some sort of crossover like that, I guess would be very monumental. I don't think it's the best Eddie solo. Again, just sort of like Texas Flood. This is like an Eddie Van Halen guitar solo that is put together using like Eddie Van Halen snippets. As an Eddie Van Halen freak, it just goes through these motions, sort of like if somebody was assembling an Eddie Van Halen guitar solo on a computer. Maybe this is a hot take that I just am not a huge Beat It solo fan, but I think that's okay to not love every single thing that your heroes make, you know? I don't love every single Joe Satriani song. Sorry, Joe. I don't love every single one of my own pieces of music, my own videos, you know? Like, sometimes these things just miss for you and they hit for other people. Like, some of the stuff that I don't like that I've made is some people's favorite videos. I've seen comments, so I'm just like, you know what? Something for everybody. But anyway, yeah, Beat It solo I wouldn't put on this list. I would put a plethora of other Van Halen guitar solos above that.
Number 5, Don Felder.
I don't even know if I can show this. Hotel California is the only song that has given my channel a copyright strike. I did the 12 greatest 12-string guitar riffs like years ago. Whoever's running the Eagles over there, I guess it's what's his name? Henley. Don Henley. Dude's got a problem with people using his music, and he doesn't care if he hurts you to let you know. So suck it, Henley. Hotel California, great guitar solo though.
Number 4, Slash from Guns N' Roses, Sweet Child of Mine.
Another repeat, and definitely not a guitar solo I would put on this list. I feel like we already went through this with Brian May, so let's move on here.
Number 3, Jimi Hendrix from the Jimi Hendrix Experiences, All Along the Watchtower.
I don't think I would choose All Along the Watchtower because it's two solos, like, and I don't know which one I like better. You know, the first one with the nice smooth creamy lead tone, and then it goes into that wah pedal with the reverse kind of sound. That's an entire guitar solo, I know, but it just feels like two distinct sections. And also, this is a cover. I have a weird thing about covers being your artistic greatest moment on a list like this. I think there's also many other Hendrix guitar solos that are better. Probably the greatest guitar solo of all time, Voodoo Child. Probably can't get better than that. When I learned Voodoo Child, I think I was 16, I learned it note for note. And I just remember it felt so natural. When you get the Hendrix mannerisms, like, you know, I don't have it perfect, but there are certain ways that he bends notes and certain tendencies he has for grabbing certain notes at inopportune times that make your hands kind of tangle up a little bit, but that's what yields that dirty Hendrixy sound. When I finally started to figure out that style a little bit, it was when I was learning this song and this guitar solo in particular, Voodoo Child. And there's a reason that every jam session in the world, people are like, hey, what do you guys want to play? How about Voodoo Child? It's just like the most fun thing to jam on, and you can just get away with any licks you want because everything sounds good, which is why it's so distinct that Hendrix was able to create a guitar solo that is still unique, even though it's just a very basic chord progression. The swagger, the attitude that he had when he played it, and the sound of it, his production skills in this recording of Voodoo Child, it's just a wonderful piece of sweet, sweet musical goodness that I think is the greatest guitar solo of all time.
Number 2, David Gilmour from Pink Floyd's Comfortably.
Yet another repeat that we will remove. I already said Comfortably Numb could easily fit on this list, so.
We still have a few honorable mentions to get through, and...
No. Hey, Mojo girl, we already saw your honorable mentions at the beginning of this. I'm skipping to number 1. Wonder what the number 1's gonna be.
Number 1, Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven.
Should have freaking known, man. I should have known the forbidden riff. I can't escape it, man. I can't escape it. It's the most epic chord progression of all time, that's for sure. The 1 to flat 7 to flat 6. And look at Jimmy Page, the freaking double neck guitar. Like, this guitar solo, you can't really argue it being number 1. Everyone, guitar player, non-guitar player, knows that this song exists, and they know there's an epic guitar solo. So it's the epitome of a great moment in one of the greatest songs ever that non-musicians and musicians alike can all appreciate. It's got the star guitar hero in the center of the frame with the double neck guitar, long hair, and to top it all off, the solo is actually unbelievably composed and well written. Jimmy Page was a master, still is a master, and if I had to pick a Led Zeppelin guitar solo, I would pick The Ocean. Leave your comments. What other guitar solos belong in the top 20 guitar solos of all time? I thought WatchMojo did a pretty good job on this video, I have to say. This may be the end of my WatchMojo reaction video. I mean, I used to react to them because they were hilariously bad, but, you know, this was pretty good. Till next time, keep shredding.